Captain Adeeb Safvi, both the US and Iran claim to have blocked the Strait of Hormuz. How does this affect the global economy?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Before we get into the economics of the action, I need to give you a bit of background so that the audience have the perspective to understand what we are discussing. Strait of Hormuz is the entrance to the Persian Gulf, as we all know, and like all the maritime activity in various parts of the oceans. Here in this part, also the rules and regulation apply, which is called under UN Convention for the Law of the Sea, Laws of the Sea, UNCLOS. So we have to keep that thing in mind that the passage through the Persian Gulf, Straits of Hormuz, is governed by the UN Convention of Law Seas. Now, uh, coming to your question, yes, 20% of the oil uh, supplied to the West, to Japan and Far East passes through Strait of Hormuz. So if there is any interruption in the supply of oil, it is bound to affect the economies of the various countries where the oil is going because the prices will go up as we have seen. It's crossed almost $100 a barrel, and as such, the countries will face some kind of setback. We can call it a recession, and then it is going to be uh, difficult for the smaller countries and even the major countries to sustain this uh, interruption for a longer period of time.
How can Pakistan Navy assist both of the sides on opening the blockade?
Navies are part of the government, and the government makes the foreign policies, and their international relations are governed by the Foreign Office. Navy is only an instrument of foreign policy as it is known across the world. So navies on their own can do very little in uh, removing the blockade unless there is a dialogue between the countries at the foreign office level, foreign minister level, and even at the head of state level as to how the things are to be conducted. On its own, any navy cannot interfere or cannot take action to remove a blockade, or because any action will be hostile action and it will be an act of war. So therefore, navies have very little role to play in really disengaging them. It will have to be at the level of the ministry or even the head of the government to decide what to do. And once they come to an agreement, then the navies are used to implement the policy or implement the decisions that have been taken at the highest level.
Technically, what advantages does Iran have in the Strait of Hormuz, and why is that so?
See, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, uh, the rules at sea are governed by the Law of the Sea Convention. Now, every country has a territorial limit of 12 miles from the shore extending towards the sea. That is the sovereign, the country exercises its sovereignty over that 12-mile period. Now, if you see on the chart that I've uh, given you, the nearest, the smallest gap between the northern part, which is Iran, and southern part, which is Oman, is 21 miles. So if you have 12 miles uh, territorial limits, so Iran goes and Oman, they overlap the area by 3 miles because it's only 21 miles and 12 miles, 12 mile makes it 24 miles. So what the law has made that freedom of navigation and trade and commerce must continue, and that is why they have made corridors. As you can see, the ships entering the Gulf are closer to Iran, as shown by the arrow, and then those exiting the Gulf are closer to Oman and leaving the Gulf. So the ships are to remain in this passage, in this corridor, to exercise their freedom of navigation. Other area around this is the sovereignty of the country, and they cannot violate it. Just the same as the in the aircraft when they fly over various countries' airspace, they remain in the corridor as per the ICAO rules, and they fly a certain height and headings. Similarly, they have made here that the ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz must comply with the regulations and remain within these boundaries. Uh, so far as the blockade is concerned, it is only difficult not to in this area there is no question of any blockade because there are sovereign sovereignty of Oman and Iran is at stake. They will challenge anything that is happening within these sea area.
As a consequence of this conflict, what future do you see of the Chabahar port?
Well, I mean this conflict has was always there on the chart because as you can see the response given by Iran was not something which could have happened if they were not prepared for it. Iran has been under sanction for over 5 decades. Iran has been victimized, and as such, they knew that at some stage or the other they would be targeted. So they had prepared themselves for this event, and as such, the Americans were taken by surprise when they found the retaliation uh, so overwhelming that uh, their entire setup in the Middle Eastern areas was destroyed. Even Israel suffered very high level of damage and casualties, though we were not given the exact damage because of censorship. But from my own sources, I can tell you that Israel suffered heavy losses both in terms of material and men and casualties of civilian population as well, like what they did in Iran. So uh, the future of Shahbar at the moment is not very promising because unless there is a settlement uh, in which Iran, uh, America, and the Middle Eastern countries all agree to keep this area uh, peaceful, uh, the trade and commerce will not flourish, and as such, the uh, port activities in Chabahar, or for that matter, even our Gwadar, which is a bit away from Hormuz, will be affected. So it is very important that peace must prevail